Alright, welcome to Random Guitar Battles, where we put a bunch of guitarists' names into a big glass bowl, shake up the bowl, draw out two names, and then we compare them and you guys vote on which one you think is better. So before we get started, I just want to remind everyone I have a Buy Me Coffee button up that you can use to support the site. If you've been enjoying content, you can also look below to see my PayPal address and CashApp handle. So if you could help out with a donation to this site, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. At this point, we've reached the single elimination rounds, which means every one of the guitarists that's matched up now, it's do or die. If they lose the vote, they're out of the running as we make our way to the ultimate top 50. And in this matchup, we've got Ritchie Blackmore versus Randy Rhoads. So for Blackmore, I've spoken about him before. He's a great improvisational guitarist. He's got great tone, and he's a legend in terms of establishing the early proto-metal sound. Another thing about him is that he made an incredible transition from one version of Rainbow with Ronnie James Dio to a completely different version of Rainbow with Joe Lynn Turner, encompassing a hard rock and pop rock genres, and I think that's kind of an interesting thing he did. And the third point I'd mention for him is his use of classical music as an influence, which was extremely influential over other guitarists, including Randy Rhoads. But Blackmore had a special way of doing it. He didn't just use classical scales in his lead guitar playing. He used like a cello approach to his songwriting with some of the things he did with both Deep Purple and Rainbow. And he's also quite a flashy showman on stage. Alright, moving over to Randy Rhoads. He kind of comes out of the same tradition as Blackmore in terms of using classical music as a basis for his playing, but he doesn't really sound a lot like Blackmore. He's a more ambitious player than Ritchie Blackmore. He tries to do more within the realm of what's essentially a three-piece band with Ozzy, the singer, and he is, I would say, a much more studied player than Blackmore. The second thing I'd mention about Randy is that he is much better at fitting within a band dynamic than Ritchie. So in Rainbow, there are times when the band's very tight and very close-knit, but at that same time, Blackmore's guitar becomes diminished. In Blackmore's guitar goes further into spotlight, the band becomes more diminished. They didn't really have that problem with the Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman bands, where they all remain sort of at equal level even when Randy is really tearing it up. And the third thing that I would say is that he shows more of a proficiency on classical guitar than Ritchie, although I know Ritchie's an accomplished classical guitar player, particularly now with his Blackmore's Night. But in the rock genre, Randy incorporated the classical guitar and the acoustic guitar, even in his brief career, I think more effectively than Blackmore. So there you have it. Those are my 3 points on each of these two guitarists, and like I said, I've talked about them before, so if you want to look up the videos that I've done on each one of these guitarists, they're on the playlist for Random Guitar Battles. And yeah, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below if you have a thought on this, and remember to like and subscribe, but most importantly, remember to vote in the poll. Thanks a lot.